Good evening, everyone. And the Reds are off to Wembley, and Gene is the host for the show today. Hope you guys are all well. I'm joined by Jake, and you're joined by the Chippendales. Guys, the Reds are off to Wembley. How are we feeling? I'll come to you first, Jake.
I'm buzzing, man. I thought this was a very, very good performance, a
Hold on,
professional
hold on, hold on,
performance.
hold on, hold on, hold on. Jake,
Here we
hold on.
go.
Sorry
This
to
guy
interrupt you.
now is gonna come
Sorry
for
to
me.
interrupt you.
Guaranteed.
The way you were so quick to just lay it off to Jake, like you can tell you're such an amateur when it comes to hosting.
Oh, yeah, listen.
So
Why don't you host?
welcome to the post-match reaction show. The boys, the players, the bastion of invincibility, Liverpool FC, is going to yet another final. We're going to get the thoughts of Blue Chip. We're going to
Oh,
get the
yeah,
thoughts
this guy's laying this
of
all
Jake.
down just to
A
have a go.
great performance at Craven Cottage. But Jake, how is Venezuela first and foremost? And where did you watch the match?
I watched the match in the hotel room. Let me tell you this, and this is an honest statement. My opening tonight was going to be that I'm honored to be the first time on the show with having Avi host. I didn't find out that Gene was hosting until just a moment ago.
And he's
So I
hosting
went
now,
from
Jake.
No, the mantelpiece has been handed over now already.
I thought we were upgrading in host from Asim to Avi, but we downgraded. So here we are. As far as the match is concerned, I am absolutely buzzing. I thought the performance was very, very good. I'm sure people have their complaints, and a lot of them are going to be valid. However, from a pure perspective, analyzing the match from what was needed, they did exactly what was needed. It was the type of performance that I expected. It was the exact result that I expected. I don't want to come on here and say that I predicted 1-1 because I'm not on camera saying that, but that was my prediction, was 1-1. That's what happened. I'm not surprised one bit. I'm buzzing to be through to the final.
No, to be fair, Jake, look, I'll be honest. I thought in terms of our performance, it was a brilliant performance. It was a professional performance, and more so in the first half. I thought the way, because I was expecting Fulham to come out all guns blazing, and the way we controlled them in the first half. Yes, they had their couple of moments when they went down the left hand side and there was a cross that just went over, but generally the way we controlled that game was brilliant. And in terms of the team lineup, Avi, I'll come to you. We had Quansah start the game. Many of us, me and Asim were discussing yesterday that we thought Kanate might start with the FA Cup game on the weekend. How did you feel when you saw the team lineup?
I kind of put it in the comments yesterday that I expected Quansah to start Bradley on the right, and up front maybe Jota would get the nod, but obviously Gakpo got it, and now I was happy. It was a controlled performance, Gene. I didn't even panic when it went 1-1. I thought we'd get the job done today, and we did. We could have made it far more easier for ourselves, but we didn't. But all in all, it was a good performance, a great night out for the likes of Quansah. Away to Fulham, cramped London crowd, especially in a semi-final, handled himself very well. Conor Bradley, I thought, was brilliant again. Could have done a little bit better for their goal, but apart from that, it was very good performances. Harvey Elliott, non-stop running. I think we got a comment from one of the people in the chat. Thank you for putting this in. Elliott was like a Duracell battery, never stopped running, just amazing. He was absolutely brilliant. His intensity is what impressed me most. And if he can do that, he is a starter for me. I like him coming off the bench, and I've been very skeptical when he starts games. But today, he was absolutely brilliant. His touch, his close control, his give and goes. He was really on par with Diaz as well, who I thought was my man of the match.
Jake, look, in terms of the midfield, we had obviously Gravenberch starting, McAllister and Elliott. Well, it felt like it was a bit of a weird sort of formation because Gakpo and Elliott were sort of like closer together on that right hand side. They'd interchange it as well. And when the opposition had the ball, you'd see Elliott sort of start the sort of press. He's the one that was doing the closing down. But in terms of Gravenberch, I thought that was a really, really good performance from Gravenberch. Some of his touches on the ball I thought was fantastic. The way he received the ball, and with his first touch, he's been able to maneuver the ball that quickly. You can sort of see that there is a player there. It might take him time to adjust to this playing style. Coming to the Premier League. What are your thoughts on his performance?
To answer your question, I thought Gravenberch was really, really good. I think the entire midfield, really for the better part of the first half, the first 40 minutes or so, were absolutely outstanding, all three of them. And I'm very pleased to see that Harvey Elliott is getting his flowers for his performance today, because the job that he did today could easily go unnoticed. It wasn't a flashy performance, but it was a brilliant performance with the work rate that he put in. And that's what you can expect from Harvey Elliott consistently, is the work rate. As far as Gravenberch, I thought he was also really, really good. To get back on topic here, I thought he was also excellent. The counter press in general, the entire first half, was very, very hard for Fulham to deal with. And we had them on the back foot for the majority of that first half. Because of our counter press, it led to a few chances here and there. We got the 1-0 lead with the Diaz goal, and we kept pressing and kept pressing, and that came from our midfield. It started with Elliott and Gravenberch and McAllister, and those three in the midfield were really the engine for that first half.
No, you're 100% right. Especially in the first 20, you saw whenever Fulham received the ball, we were all over them. We were on them like a sort of rush. And going, then obviously it led to the goal for Diaz, Avi. It was a brilliant sort of ball from Kwanzaa and a great finish from Diaz. And I know, you've called Diaz your man of the match in terms of his performance. But talk me through that goal.
Can't talk too much of it because I didn't see the goal. So
you didn't watch the game?
No, I did. It was a long, it was a brilliantly outfield pass from Kwanzaa, who's got that in his locker, by the way. I've seen this lad since he's been 17, 18 for the under England junior tournaments in the World Cups. He's a great distributor of the ball. Honestly, he could be as good as Van Dijk when it comes to his passing. We saw a glimpse of it today. Passes it, outfield left across to Diaz, controls it, and that's what we want Diaz to do from the bar line. Come in and beat a man or two. I think he got a bit of luck with the deflection, but it was a good finish. He was very aggressive he knew what he wanted to do. He didn't want to pass it on to Nunez or Gakpo. He wanted to go towards the goal, puts it in the back of the net, and that will do his confidence no end. And since he's come back from the turn of the year, he's had a good few performances. We saw against Arsenal in the cup game. He's getting back to his old self again, Luis Diaz, and that's what we want. Running at defenders, causing havoc. A few of the passes will go astray from time to time. But all in all, I thought he had a very good 90 minutes today.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought second half he was brilliant. I know there was an instance where, he tried to lay off the ball and he probably made the wrong pass. But generally speaking, he was tenacious. And this is what he does give you. He gives you somebody that's going to work his socks off up and down that left-hand side. And he's got the quality to show if it means being able to, when we need a player to receive the ball and take us up 20, 30 yards up the pitch, he's able to do that. But Jake, coming on to you, McAllister, another brilliant performance, I thought, from McAllister again. I know you've been raving about him for a few weeks, but just remember, I told him about you before you come for me. Yeah, I'm the one who said to you, he's the player that we need to sign. So, but on a serious note, again, what a performance.
Very good performance, man. I've been talking about him for almost a month now, and he's just getting better and better in this system. I keep talking about how impressed I am with the improvement in the physicality in his game. You've seen once again Fulham try to bully him off the ball, and I keep talking about this. Earlier in the season, teams were having a lot of success being physical with him, taking the ball off of him, and then creating counterattack opportunities very quickly against us. He's figured out a way. I don't know what exactly he's done to improve, because there's no way he's gotten that much stronger physically. He's just playing stronger than he was earlier in the season. Teams are now having an issue finding that level of success they were having earlier in the season, taking the ball off of him. Everywhere else, he's brilliant. He's magnificent with the ball at his feet. He always picks the right pass. He has an incredible amount of intelligence that's on him, and you can see that when you watch him play. Klopp talked about that the other day. He's a very intelligent player, and it oozes when you watch him play.
He's sorry to interrupt, Jake. He's Klopp's brain, Gene. You notice that straight away. Even on the training field, you see clips of them in training. You see clips of them off the game, pre-game, midway through the game. He looks for McAllister. He's his brain. In some ways, he's what Thiago should have been for Klopp. But albeit, he's had injuries. But McAllister, he's the linchpin. That's the perfect word you can use. He's the linchpin for this team.
There's another player that I really, really want to speak about today, and that's Joe Gomez. Again, I thought he was brilliant. We're seeing Joe Gomez, and I'm sat here, giving out his praises more or less every week. And it's these type of players, like players like Gomez, who haven't been playing regularly over the last 18 months or whatever. They come in and they're doing an amazing job for us. And we saw sides to him today where, I watched the game with Vicky and these guys where he received the ball. He was always inverting, receiving the ball, being able to take us up the field sort of thing in, let's say, 15, 20 yards, being able to break between the lines. And I'm just honestly looking at this Liverpool side now. We're seeing so many facets of this team and the players, more so the players, because everybody that comes in, because I'm not going to lie, guys, I wanted Konate to start yesterday. And when I saw Bradley, Quansah, Elliott on that right-hand side, it did worry me. But again, what a performance from the boys to go out there. And, Jake, you mentioned it. It was a professional performance. But Joe Gomez, for me, I know Avi's man of the match was Diaz. He was my man of the match, Joe, because I thought he was phenomenal. Avi, anything to say?
I think Jake...
Listen, I mentioned this in the group chat numerous times this week. I'm not taking Gomez out of the starting lineup for Andy Robertson.
Sure.
It was another very, very good performance defensively. I know we conceded today, but really up until that 75th minute mark, there weren't really very many opportunities that Fulham had. And you could see Fulham's intention most of the times when they were in possession was to attack Joe Gomez. And they didn't have a lot of luck. They tried many, many times. And the biggest thing that I'm impressed with Gomez the most this season is how much he's improved his level of composure. When he's on the ball and he needs to make a quick decision, before it seems like more times than not, there would be a bonehead decision that would be in him. And it seemed like it always led to a goal for the opposition. This season, not only are those mistakes and those chances not being created by the opposition, but the mistakes aren't even there. The composure is on another level. He's making the right decision every single time that he's on the ball. And like you mentioned, he's showing an ability to receive the ball in difficult situations. And that's a huge improvement.
Another thing, Jake, that I saw about Joe Gomez today was, and over the last couple of weeks, is generally speaking, I'd always think he plays the safe ball all the time, trying to go, play it back to the centre back and keep it, play the easy ball, let's say. But there's times this season now where you're seeing a lot more intricacy in his play, where he's looking and he's able to play, let's say, an inside ball to one of the midfielders or anything like that. So hats off to Joe Gomez again. What a performance, and he was my man of the match. And honestly, I can't stop raving about his performance because he's just been phenomenal.
Gene, just on that as well, you know what it is? It's rhythm as well, momentum. The more games that he has, he's going to have more confidence. This guy, he could play football from the age of 17 when he was at Charlton. Came to Liverpool, he could spray a pass, he could travel with the ball. We're seeing that again. I even said in the 2019-2020 title-winning season, at some points of that season, he was better than BBD at centre back. And he was a ball-carrying centre-back as well. Now he's got the confidence. He trusts his legs again. He trusts that knee again. This guy's had a complete tear of his knee. He had a patella snap. His patella tendon, it literally snapped on him when he was at England duty back in 2021. It's taken him 2.5 years to recover. Last season, he still didn't get the game time that he should have. But this season, arguably he's our best defender right now. Left back, right back, centre-back. He'll do a job.
Are you taking Gomez out of the starting lineup for Andy Robertson? Not
right now. You can't kill momentum like that, Jake. And it's given us a great luxury that we can ease Robbo in slowly. Simicast is around the corner 100%. Too, but there's no way we can drop Joe Gomez. And especially the way he plays that inverted role. Like today, he was taking a dribble in that 6th position today. He was getting fouled. Polini at one point couldn't keep up with him. So I don't know how you take that out. It's a very difficult decision. Like, I love Robbo. I love the intensity, the aggression, but he could be the one that gives us that extra sort of 15, 20 minutes off the bench, that energy that we might lack in the latter stages of the season. But right now, Joe Gomez, undroppable.
No, that's a fair comment. And look, we, a lot of the local fan base, we've been calling for, for Liverpool to go out and go and spend, money with a left-footed centre-back who's able to play on that left-sided role. When we have Trent inverting, it just gives us another dimension, because it's like a new sort of signing. Joe Gomez is coming in, being able to play in that position, and then allowing Bradley or whoever the right back is to be able to bomb on. And that's what we saw again. Bradley at times in possession of the ball, we saw him so high up he was practically playing further than at times. What's his name? Elliot, sorry. So it just shows that there are so many facets to this game. It's just like Asim mentioned on the show yesterday. Asim mentioned that the issue that you might have is when Trent's playing, and when Trent wants to invert, that's where you probably will want to see a natural left-sided player who wants to probably go and bomb down the left-hand side. But all in all, guys, honestly,
I think again that's fluid. I think that's fluid because Gomez can play that comfortably, and then Trent can bomb forward. And yes, Gomez won't give you the balance that a Robbo does or a natural, authentic left back would do. But how do you drop him, Gene? We're playing great football. Without Robbo, you can't drop him right now. You can't disrupt the balance right now. Yes, you can bring Robbo in for some games, but right now, Joe Gomez, Kanate, Van Dijk, the three of them, you can't drop them.
No, that's it. And I get that, and I completely get that, because that's, at the end of the day, why would you change a sort of winning formula that's worked for you for so long, especially when you've got so many, first team players that hopefully are going to be coming back. And he is, like Promo mentions, Gomez is on form, our best player, and that just goes to show how well Joe Gomez has played. But coming to you, Jake, the forward line.
And just on that too, sorry, and we'll come to Jake. And Jake, I've not put you on mute on purpose just because of the distortion. I've just put you on mute. Yeah, nice one. Joe Gomez, he did an interview yesterday with Jan Mulby and the other interviewer on the We Are Liverpool podcast. The way he speaks, Gene, he gets the club. And I guess he's been there since 17, but he knows what it means to play for this shirt. Honestly, I know we've got Trent in line for the captaincy, but this guy deserves and then I'm pretty sure he's one of the leaders amongst the squad anyway, but he deserves like a vice captaincy role as well. Once Van Dijk's time's up, I know Trent is the natural successor, but Joe Gomez behind him, I think that'd be a great choice.
And I'm sure I think I've seen somewhere he's probably the oldest player in the team now. So just he's probably the longest serving player for Liverpool Football Club. But Jake, I wanted to come to you in terms of the forward line. We went with Diaz, Gakpo, and Darwin. What did you make of their performance today in terms of? There was instances where we were onto them because we played really, really well. The final ball, I think, sometimes was missing, but generally their performance, the forward line's performance, mate.
I think if you break them down individually, I would say that for me, I agree with Avi. Again, Avi and I are always on the same page. Diaz for me was the man of the match for a lot of different reasons, which Avi basically.
You never say anything wrong about Diaz. That's what it is. You two are there. You two are like Diaz fanboys. That's what it is.
Kina, do you blame me? I advocate this signing for like years.
Signing, and he lives in Colombia. So I also advocated for a signing way before we signed him. That's a separate topic. I thought Nunez was really good, man. I thought Nunez was really, really good. When he sidestepping from saying Diaz and Nunez were both really good. When you look at the whole collectively, I know there's going to be a little bit left to be desired from the link-up play and the amount of chances that were created that people are probably going to nickel and dime here and there and have a few complaints about. But as I talked about earlier, I really think that the performance in general from start to finish was a professional performance. It wasn't necessary for us to come out here and try to win this match 2-0, 3-0, 2-1, 3-1. The goal is to go through. And there's no need to take unnecessary risks that's going to leave you a little bit vulnerable at the back. And that's what we did. We found an early lead. We protected the lead. I don't mean sat back, but we protected the lead. And we found a way to get through. But as far as the forward lines, yes, of course, they could have produced a little bit more. They could have had a little bit better link-up play. There was an opportunity where a lot of people are questioning kind of Diaz, where he had that opportunity in the second half where he cut in very early in the second half where he cut in. Inside the box, he had a clear shot on goal. It appeared to be a clear shot on goal. He decided to pass, and it led to nothing. So that was the little situations like that.
Yeah, because that was a situation where, like, come on, Diaz, put it away. You're in on goal, put it away. And if you're not, you got to find your man. And I think, not just Diaz. There's a few instances with the others as well where I felt as though we were there in and around the opposition box, but we didn't make a let's say a proper opportunity out of it, because we did have chances, let's say close to, like, say the final ball wasn't there.
Right. I mean, a lot of the good things that Diaz and Nunez both did, a lot of it was off the ball and more in situations, putting in the work rate. and a little bit of creating. Of course, Diaz scored for himself, but they both created for other players. And it turned into nothing for both of those situations. But I think Gakpo is the one, if you want to kind of question, his performance as far as the output today, there wasn't a whole lot of output going forward in the final third from him. So if there's anybody to kind of have a bone to pick with, I would say that would be with Gakpo. But
we just got to Wembley.
Gene, and I tell you what it is today, and today won't be as heated as it was on Sunday, even though we beat Bournemouth 4-0 on Sunday. It got heated amongst us. I blame Sarib for that, for some outrageous opinions. But listen, his opinions are respected. Look, last on Sunday it was Jota who grabbed a brace. Nunes grabs a brace. Gakpo gets an assist for Jota's goal. Today it was Diaz. Norwich on Sunday, it will be another one of our forwards again. It could be Gakpo's time on Sunday. It's great that they're sharing the responsibility whilst, the king is away, Mohu right now, because our forwards are clicking. And look, as long as they can go on this trail for the next 3.5 weeks, Salah's miss won't be as big as we think, or we sort of like have predicted that it might be against games like Arsenal, Chelsea. These rich sort of strikers that we have, the four of them right now, the quartet, they need to just continue this form up until Salah comes back, which is, hopefully first few weeks of February or mid-Feb.
Now, a word on Darwin Núñez. Honestly, when he did that turn and he hit it and it nearly went in, I swear, if only that went in, it just sometimes feels like he does everything right, and it's like he's got some sort of curse where it's going to hit the post. And even I think the one that got disallowed, he came off the post and Diaz put it in. It just doesn't seem to be going in, and he does everything right. In all-round play, I thought he was decent today. It's just when it really, that little look, and I think I feel as though when that look clicks for this player, you're going to see and sooner or later that little look is hopefully going to kick in, and we're going to see him go on a mad one. And I believe that will hopefully be enough for us to win the title if and when the guy clicks. But it's just unlucky to see him get so close on so many occasions, and it just doesn't work out in the end. But Jake, I wanted to come to you about Fulham, because I'm not going to lie, like me and you, we've spoken previously about Fulham. I was expecting a lot more from them today. I know we saw, when they got that goal, I didn't really see them, come after us. I thought Marco Silva generally their side's doing a lot more. We were comfortable, and I was expecting them to come up with a lot more tenacity, a lot more in terms of their pressing, a lot more. I thought that Hustle and Harrios. And I think, how did you make of their performance today?
I think the first half for them was not on par. We talked about the first half and how successful our counter press was and how much struggles they had with our counter press. The first half for them, I thought was very, very poor. However, they made some adjustments at halftime. Obviously, they're down a goal, not only in this match at that time, but also down a goal coming into the match. So they're down 2 goals at this time. And they're going to have to press forward. They have to be on the front foot and try to make something happen, because at that point they have nothing to lose. But really, from the beginning of the second half up until they scored their goal, they still weren't very impressive. So you're looking at around 25, 30 minutes there where they were still.
Jake?
You need to top up that Venezuelan Wi-Fi.
I know, man. Jake, I think you have to...
top up the L meter. Give him some money, Jake.
You're gonna have to go and come back, Jake. But Avi, I think Atik makes a comment today. I think we'll come back to Jake when he's on back. But Atik mentions, he goes, he thought Paulinho looked. Oh, sorry, where's it gone now?
Leave me the comments, idiot. Just leave the comments to me. Atik Sadiq said, I thought Paulinho looked ordinary. Yeah, look, it doesn't mean that he's a bad player. I think he's a good player, but Klopp is not looking just for a destroyer in that 6. He wants a ball-playing linchpin like we've got in McAllister, someone who can do everything and excel in every facet of the game. And that's what McAllister is. Endo isn't your typical sit-in 6. Look how many progressive passes that he attempts. So he's equally up there amongst what Klopp wants as a 6. Bajicic isn't a 6. He will play the predominantly 6, but he can do so much more than a 6. I see him as a natural 8 in the future, Stefan Bajicic. So, Paulinho looked ordinary today, but he's a class player. He's a class player.
Third world problems, guys. Sorry about that. Lost some cell phone service.
Jake, we were just discussing Paulinho because obviously, a lot he's been linked to so many players. He plays that defensive role, and he was looking for that big move in terms of his performance today. I didn't think he was great at all. I'll be honest. I didn't think he was. I expected a lot more from him, and I didn't really see a player that's worthy of the price tag being touted around for him. What did you make of his performance in
Yeah,
general? That's number one. Number two, would you sign him?
okay. Number one, I would agree with your thoughts on him overall for the match today. He had what a lot of you guys would consider a sitter in the first half. I don't know if you guys talked about that or not.
Yeah.
Off of the corner that he skied over goal. He probably should score from there. I don't know if that's a sitter or not, but he probably should score that. As far as overall performance, I would agree from you. It looked like he was a step behind, a little bit slow, and our midfield was able to bypass him rather easily in a lot of situations. To answer your second question, would I sign him? I talked about this also in the group chat earlier today. I don't think that there's a place in this team for another, and I'm going to say this word specifically, for another destroyer. I think if there's going to be a sixth that's signed, it's going to be a player that has a similar skill set to McAllister. If they're going to bring a six in, they're going to have somebody come in that's similar to McAllister, move McAllister further forward into that kind of 8/10 role that we probably signed him for, and have another player that's similar to McAllister that allows us to play this total control football that we're playing right now. I think Klopp really, really likes having a six that has the skill set that McAllister has, as opposed to a six as a skill set that Paulinho has. We obviously have Endo on the squad as well. I don't think there's space on this team for two of those types of players.
I think that's what we're pinning hopes on. Bajicic, once he comes back, he gets game times, he gets a bit of rhythm. I think that's what we're looking for as a six, as as a complement to McAllister, or someone that comes in and McAllister goes further forward. It's just the riches of riches of options that we have in our squad, Jake. And last season we didn't have that. Fabinho, Hendo, Oxlade, Milner. The legs were going on all four of them. And the players that we've brought in now, added to the depth that we have, like the Bajicic, like the Curtis Jones, who's a year older in maturity and intelligence, Harvey Elliott, who's improving. It only bodes well. We've got a team of like 6-7 midfielders, quality midfielders. Gene Hendo was coming in when McAllister was sent off or he was injured. With that clash of knees. Endo came in and, did more than a capable job. He was absolutely brilliant. Goes off to the Asia Cup, McAllister comes in. So any player that is coming out of the squad, so Bosley has been injured, but Gravenberch has chipped in, Elliott's chipped in, and yes, Gravenberch, the ceiling is up here yet, but he's only performing at this, he's not at full optimum. Give him another year. Once he hits 22, 23, you will see the real Gravenberch. So it only bodes well. It's a youthful midfield. That's one thing we forget. Thiago is the elder statesman. He hasn't been available. But this crop of midfielders, if they stay together for the next 4 to 7 years together, which is highly achievable, success is the only way forward.
No. Ivy, you hit the nail on the head. These three, in terms of their age profile as well, like you mentioned, 22, 23. If these guys can play until, let's see, when they actually reach their peak at the age of 27, 28, we've got some players there. Ivy, question for you, mate. Arives put this comment up. Avi, what do you think about the Kimmich links then? Because there were links about him, Liverpool are linked to him. I know he's a player you like, but do you think there's anything there?
Find out on Friday.
Oh, that's a fair point. We find out on Friday.
Find out on Friday.
Chippendale show, guys. Join us on Friday. I think, what time are we going this Friday? You might as well let everybody know now.
A little bit late because I think Spurs and City are playing in the FA Cup. So me and Gene probably go 10:30, 11 on Friday.
It'll be a late one.
Gene, let me ask you a question. What is your desire for this club to sign a destroyer as a six in the summer?
Jake, if I'm honest, before I wanted one. I've always wanted one because I just think because it gives us that different type. When we need a player like him, at least we've got him in our ranks. And look, we've seen McAllister come in and put in performance that we think do we really need one? And Asim's mentioned this on our shows previously as well. I think we've moved on. I think the football has moved on from a traditional destroyer six. Your six has to be able to do a lot more. And when you've got in a club like Liverpool, Jake, generally speaking, we have a lot of the ball, we have a lot of the possession. So the onus is on you to actually make play. So you need your six to be able to be a actual ball player. Because the days have gone where he's just going to be sit there and become a destroyer. It doesn't work in modern day football. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing who, because I think we look with Thiago leaving, obviously there's a space there and somebody's going to have to take, and obviously we will be in the market for a 6. But I personally now, I think I'm moving away from that thought, Jake. I think and I agree with your point. I think if the replacement comes, it's going to be in the mold of a Thiago stroke McAllister. And I didn't think that at the start of the season, because I was a big advocate of bringing in a destroyer, because we've seen it work over the years with Fabinho. But right now, nah, man, the way this team is gelling and the way this team is playing, it's just being able to have the player who's able to settle us off on a quick counter the way McAllister does. There's not many players that can do that. And when we have everybody playing, and I was talking on this about this in the show yesterday, when we've got everybody playing, the likes of Trent back, Szoboszlai back, Salah back, Robbo back when we need him, and the forward line are firing, boy, we've got a scary, scary team. And we're top of the table right now in all 4 competitions, and we've got a lot of players out. So you can imagine when all these players are back, what we're going to see in terms of number one, the football that we play, and number two, how good the number one, what Klopp did, and Schmatteker as well, Jake. You got to give a lot of credit to him as well, because these were more or less his buys. I know one of them wasn't. I think McAllister probably wasn't, but he's the one that brought these players in, and also his coaching staff being able to adjust and make these tweaks in game and during before the game and in game, because you got to give a lot of credit out to them. Look, on the whole, then guys, we're off to Wembley, and I know Jake, you probably booked. You're probably sat there already booking your ticket. Avi, are you here? Are you here in Fed for that? Are you going to be here?
I won't be here, but I'm coming a little bit earlier, so I won't be here for the final.
Yeah.
But it'll be an early kickoff for me, stateside. I just want to say as well, big shout out to Klopp at 1-1. He brought on Bobby Clark, an 18-year-old. He didn't have fear as a manager to say, hey, you know what? Go and give me 10 minutes. Just go and run out. Not just to run out, but go and play under these extreme pressures now, because Fulham were going to chuck everything in the kitchen sink to make it 2-1. But he chucks in Bobby Clark. I thought that was a great decision. And that tells you how much confidence that he has in these lads. At whatever age, if you're mature enough, you're good enough. Go out there and express yourselves. And I thought that was a great substitution. I just wanted to mention that.
And just in terms of the substitutions, Jake, we saw Klopp go back to a back 5 today, which isn't we don't see that often. So it was like Asim mentioned, like a 5-4-1 formation, and I was quite surprised to see that. If I'm honest, I wasn't expecting Sonata to come on, just because I just thought we won't risk it. But what did you make of number one, the substitution, and number two, how did it make you feel in terms of if we need to shore up a result and more or less try to put the game to bed and not leave anything going back? What did you make of it?
I think the game got out of hand from when Fulham scored their goal at 1-1 until that substitution was made. The game was out of hand for us at that point. Fulham were in complete control. They had that one, not even really a half chance, but that Harry Wilson long shot that Kelleher saved and put away for a corner. From those few minutes, it was out of hand for us. Klopp made that substitution. He went to a back 5 that you're talking about. And from that point forward, it looked like we really eased control back into the game. He took the sting out of the game. Fulham lost their momentum there. And that was the substitution that I was surprised once it was made, that ended up working as they all seem to have been doing for Klopp over the course of the last handful of months. His substitutions have been magic, but he's gone to this back 5 in the past. Yeah. And a lot of times it hasn't worked for us. I want to say he went to a back 5 at Tottenham, and that backfired. There's been times last season where he's also tried to go to a back 5 where it's also backfired. So when he went to it today, I was concerned, if I'm being honest with you. But it was a stroke of brilliance. It worked magnificently. Wow, excuse me. And it really took the sting out of the game and allowed us to finish the game 1-1.
Yeah, I was really, really impressed with that, Avi. I thought, being able, because this is another thing. It's his in-game management where he's able to see what Liverpool needs and being able to execute it, and then to actually execute it perfectly, like Jake mentions. He's a master stroke, and he's done it plenty of times this season. You're on mute. You're on mute as well.
Probably good thing, Gene. Probably make more sense me being on mute. No, credit to Linders, Peter Kravitz as well, the backroom staff who, I'm sure Asim gives us clips of when he's at the games that, Linders is having a quiet word in Klopp's ear every time in the second half, making a substitution, and the substitution happens, and more often than not this season, the game has changed. The tide changes, and we get more possession, we score more, especially the amount of goals that we scored late on this season. It bodes well, and there's been question marks, especially last season, about Klopp's in-game management, how he looks lost, and how Pep's this revolutionary and Klopp's not with it. Well, this season, he's changed that script. He has changed that script on multiple occasions, and it's not luck. So, no, full credit to our beautiful German and the coaches behind him as well. And look, it's another cup final, and that breeds success. How many finals have we been in under Klopp? That's 3 in the Champions League, 1 in the Europa League, twice in the League Cup, FA Cup final we've been in, another League Cup final. So, that's like nearly 8-9 cup finals. He's going a cup final a year by the ratio. So that it's great. It's absolutely great.
Look, and I completely agree with you, Avi. What Klopp's been able to achieve over this time, especially in the cup competitions. And there was something I think earlier on where people were saying that Klopp doesn't take the FA Cup and the League Cup seriously. There was a notion going on that's what a lot of people were saying. But if you look at his record in the actual competition, it goes to show that especially this season, Jake, we're in all 4 competitions, and it looks like we're going to go pretty far in all 4 of them. And I saw one of the comments earlier today. He mentioned in the League Cup and the FA Cup so far, we've played Premiership sides. It's not like we're playing, Division 1 teams or Championship sides. We're playing against Premier League sides, and we're putting these Premier League sides away. So we will take all the competitions seriously, and it bodes well for this season. You're on mute, Jake.
Yeah, listen, I think the biggest difference between this season and some of the other campaigns is what Avi touched on, and I've touched on previous shows, is the level of depth that this team has. And when you have players like Bradley that can step in and do a job, you have a guy like Gomez that can step in and do a job and play rather brilliantly. Salah's out. I don't think it's ever a situation where Klopp didn't take these cups seriously. However, these players that have been stepping in the past haven't been producing and performing to the levels that these players are doing this season for us. And I talked about it on the last show. Everyone that's stepping in right now is putting in a brilliant performance. I thought Connor Bradley, I saw the chat from somebody earlier that said Connor Bradley needs some more time. Of course he needs some more time. He's not perfect. He got beat on the goal, but that's a tough position for him to be in and recover in. Other than that, he was absolutely fantastic today. He played brilliantly. He doesn't show any level of inexperience or lack of form or lack of ability. It never shows. He always looks like he fits, and he always looks like he belongs on the field. Of course he can improve. Of course he can get better. He's not a finished product by any means, but he's absolutely brilliant. And that goes with everyone else that has stepped in and replaced other players throughout the season. It's not just recently. It's been the entire season. And I think because of that, we're seeing a level of success in this cup competition this season that in some other seasons we haven't been seeing.
No, that's all a fair comment. You're 100% right in terms of Klopp's never really had the squad depth to able to make these tweaks, make these adjustments, especially at halftime, because we just never had the squad. Finally, it feels like, look, the Reds have a squad, and we're going for this sort of quad. So I just hope that this Liverpool side, can mount a challenge on all fronts. And look, guys, Wembley is just the start, and we feel as though, look, there's this momentum building with this Liverpool team, and hopefully this will carry us towards the end of the season. But guys, look, this is our post-match show. Look, we're trying to do as much content as possible. Avi's going to probably want to do the outro anyway because he likes to do everything. So, Ali, I might as well hand it off to you, Avi. You might as well take over.
You've been an absolute champion today. Just like your hoodie says. An absolute cheap brand champion today. That's what you've been today. But well done.
I'm representing the brand, man. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, you are. And Jake, always a pleasure. Hopefully me and you can do more shows, Jake, and you get invited to, because you talk absolute sense. More sense out of you.
My pleasure.
More sense out of you than the 2 idiots that I run the show with, Dean and Asim. Asim talks a big game. Let him handle Twitter, and we'll handle the shows. But listen, guys, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. We are on our way to 7K. We'll be back in our seats on Friday, where I'll be at home and a little bit more lively. and then Gene will be my co-host, and then we have Moby joining us for the transfer side of the show. And yeah, we'll talk about Kimmich, who's on everyone's lips right now.
Yeah.
I'll see you in Wembley, Gene.
Yeah, Jake, you'll see me at Wembley, mate. I look forward to it.
100. Absolutely.
Take care, guys.
Guys, nice one.